Hey everyone, I'm Robert Jordan. I'm the facilitator and founder of the Collateral Engineering Services core unit for MakerDAO. I know that's a handful to hear, but I'll give you a little bit more context later on in the conversation. Oops, sorry about that. Super excited to be here today. This is the first live presentation that I've given since this worldwide supply shortage issue we've been having. So it's great to be back out and chatting with everyone. This afternoon, I'm going to give you a ride through the evolution of the Maker Foundation and the MakerDAO. And it's what we called internally Beyond the Foundation. Now, I want to make sure that we're all clear. I'm sharing my experiences that I've had with the foundation. If you've been part of the foundation or are part of the community, you might have your own experiences, and that's totally fine. Just know that I have many more questions as it relates to working in a DAO, and my intention is to give you an idea of where we're going. Before I dive into the presentation, I want to ask you a couple of questions. So the first one is, and it was great because I was on a community call right before this, how many people know the difference between the Maker Foundation and the MakerDAO? I know a couple of you people know back there. Okay, great, wonderful. And how many of you know that the Maker Foundation has dissolved? Okay, well, thanks very much. This is really important for me because it'll help me gear the presentation toward this audience. And also know there'll be plenty of time for questions at the end of this. Every great story has a drama in it somewhere. You might have heard of the hero's journey. This was something that Joseph Campbell had popularized some years ago. And I would imagine that everyone's familiar with movies like Star Wars or Harry Potter or The Lion King. While these tales might seem different, Campbell claims that they're all variations of the same story. In his book in 1949, I know that was a while ago, The Hero with 1,000 Faces, Campbell outlines the journey that these stories follow. First, the hero leaves the ordinary world. Next, the hero ventures into being birthed by trauma and trials and tribulation. And last, the hero returns in triumph. I believe Maker is also following this story, and quite frankly, the juiciest place to start is with the adventure into the unknown. I'd love to tell you it was smooth sailing at Maker, but it wasn't. We had drama in the metaverse before there was a metaverse. Our adventure into the unknown was called the Purple Pill Incident. In my greatly oversimplified version of the situation, it was about how the dev fund or the treasury would be spent. The incident is well covered in the press, and if you want to look it up, please do so, and you can make your own opinions about it. For me, the start of the Foundation Dissolution actually happened with the Purple Pill incident. I came on board in the mid-2019 timeframe and worked as a full-time employee for the Maker Foundation. Much of the Purple Pill incident was over by then. I didn't have a horse in the race, so it was really interesting to see different people's opinion on what exactly had happened. When I came on board, the plan was to have the Maker Foundation bootstrap the protocol, then dissolve and transition itself into the MakerDAO. Sounds simple, right? I mean, what could go wrong? One of my first roles was as an agile coach for the Maker product and engineering teams. It was great. Here I am, this boomer guy, right? I got the gray hair. Coming into coach teams, and this lingering pill incident is present. I'm bringing in all of my agile mumbo jumbo, only to face a lot of resistance when implementing some product and engineering best practices. I mean, so we can make the donuts taste better and fulfill the demand for dye. I've been doing product and engineering work for a long while, And this was the first time anyone ever asked me to build a team to dissolve. I had my doubts on whether or not the foundation would really dissolve by the end of 2021, so it was a 3-year time frame. And in fact, during my interview process, I don't ever remember hearing about any sort of 3-year plan to dissolve the foundation. You know, like most companies though, I've worked with, plans always change, right? I'm thinking, sure, we'll roll up to the internal deadlines and we'll push the dates. So in mid-2020, I decided to test my thesis, and I started asking, what's the plan? We had 110 people in 23 countries employed at the Maker Foundation. Surely somebody had a plan, right? Guess what? There wasn't a plan. I mean, some really bright people had a vision, but I didn't see an actual plan. So I thought to myself, it'd be pretty cool to consciously dissolve a company. I mean, I've never done anything like that before. So I put together a job description, I pitched it, and then I became the lead for managing the foundation's dissolution. Not only were we involved in dissolving the foundation, but growing the community and enabling the DAO to become self-sufficient. Yes, we had a community, and they were working in a supportive role since the foundation had the resources to execute the mission of bootstrapping the protocol. So what was the plan? Well, that was not the plan. That's the plan to come. Step one was to jointly put a process in place with the community. This process is called the Maker Improvement Proposal Framework, or MIP for short. The MIP framework outlines the components like the core principles, or the life cycles, or the templates that we use. It also defines this editor, facilitator, removal, election process. The framework was also the basis for jump-starting governance. MIP 0 was designed to be the foundation for all MIPs that followed. Step 2 was ensuring the business continuity and the stability of the protocol. Take a moment to think about the mechanics of transitioning the core smart contracts, the oracles, and the infrastructure from a centralized organization into a decentralized organization and not wrecking the protocol. We did that. Step 3 was working with the staff of 110 current employees and self-organizing around the needs of the protocol. I mean, exactly how do you construct an internal framework to motivate people to leave the comfort of their regular paychecks and step into a role in the DAO or potentially somewhere else? And step 4 is really simple: execute. You already have a punchline for this one. By May 2021, our smart contracts engineering team put together the first onboarding MIP set, and launched into the DAO. It was like magic happening due to all the preparation we did inside of the foundation. And there were a lot of people that did a lot of work. I mean, you never know what's going to happen until it actually happens, and this was so beautiful to see. The MakerDAO governance structure is quite simple, even though a lot of smart people put it together. Okay, that was a joke, but someone got it over here. Building on top of our MIPS, governance is made up of facilitators, budgets, core units, contributors, and delegates. I know, lions and tigers and bears, oh my. There are a few exceptions to this, but this should give you a good idea of the DAO's structure and how we operate. For example, I'm a facilitator and a recognized member of MakerDAO. I proposed what's called a core unit. And my core unit, and I also onboarded myself as a facilitator of the core unit that is called the Collateral Engineering Services Core Unit. My core unit was voted by the community and ratified at the end of September. So I too filled out a MIP process, a 3-set template, to be able to propose my idea and then be able to have the community vote on it. As a facilitator, I have a budget. And I also have a responsibility to deliver upon a mandate. For me, that mandate is, oh, here it comes, 1 trillion DAI. Oh boy. Any Austin Power fans out there? Yeah, okay. My core unit focuses on collateral management for both crypto native and real world assets. And as you can imagine, I don't do this alone. So I hire individuals and teams of people to help me fulfill the mandate, and these individuals are called contributors. Last but not least, we have delegates, both public and private delegates. Delegates are an important part of the voting system and process and serve to vote based upon the collective interest of different groups of MKR token holders. It can be challenging working for a DAO. I believe in an iterative approach to most things in my life. You make a plan, you execute, you gather feedback, and you put the learnings back into the process. It's exactly what's happening now with MakerDAO. I could go into detail about my concerns around legal, about regulatory issues, the communication between the 16+ core units, the product roadmaps, as an example, competition, collateral risk, audits, this thing between traditional, centralized, and decentralized collateral. But all those things are lower on my list. My top priority and challenge is that of the governance process. I believe MakerDAO, like many other projects, is in an experimental phase of governance, and at the same time, leading a decentralized organization through unknown territory. Let's make sure we all understand the context of having over 7 billion DAI in circulation. There's no small feat in that, and we're doing a really good job of navigating through the challenges that anyone would face in this transition. Right now, we're trying to figure out how decision-making really works, and coupling that with a voting process that engages and incents a majority of the community to vote. So that's the first one. The second challenge would be that of aligning on a strategic focus or North Star for the DAO. The nature of decentralized organizations, it just doesn't lend well to having everyone buy off on a vision, especially because there's a lot of disagreement. At the same time, without a vision, the DAO shall die. In a crypto project, most people can agree upon one thing: price go up. That's great when we're all enjoying a bull market. The real question is, what is the process for gaining agreement on the why, the what, and the how to sustain the cyclical nature of our markets? The last challenge is accountability. Most of us come from somewhere else, and we want to break the chains of centralization, especially in our work. Right now, money flows fast and freely. The move fast, get her done mentality rules the day. Meanwhile, our cycle looms. We're all professionals in our craft and trade, and yet the question of where did my money go is coming. So where do we go from here? No, I'm not considering money laundering in my core units. That's not for consideration. The question is, how does Maker become a purpose-driven DAO with a compelling vision for those inside and outside of the crypto community? In one such proposal in the Maker forums, there's a post called "The Case for Clean Money." The basis of the post is that climate change will have a greater impact on financial stability than anything else for at least the next 50 years. Is it possible to build a financial model around this idea. Exactly how would you do that? Stay with me, I'm going to make a bit of a jump here. In one example, the 4C world refers to what climate models predict the world will look like in 2100 when temperatures rise 4 degrees Celsius. Notice a lot of uninhabitable areas in the world, the yellow and the brown. Now notice the green, which is where the population centers would most likely exist. I'm not asking you to believe this model, only the potential impact to the financial stability as it relates to the world. In some variation of this is true, if some variation of this is true, then it would be prudent to design a financial model to ensure global stability. The proposed initiative is a strategy based around a core portfolio of sustainable, resilient, and decentralized collateral. Think of this as investments in the clean energy infrastructure, geographic and economic opportunities where climate factors and risks are built in, and ETH as the decentralized collateral. If you're interested in diving into this more, please see the Maker forum post on clean money and add your thoughts and contribute to the discussion. Now, back to our hero's journey. Earlier, we started with the adventure on the road of the unknown, and I gave you a context of how we move through the hero's journey. Where are we at today? My gut tells me that we're in the departure phase again, but I'll leave it up to you to decide for yourself. One thing is clear, there will be drama and adventure again. Hey, why would anyone want to be in any other industry right now? So I appreciate your time, and it was great being in front of a live audience again. I'm happy to take questions upon the time remaining, and I'm always looking for talented people to join my team or other teams inside of the DAO. So please reach out to me after the presentation or contact me through any one of the links or mechanisms up here. And so I thank you very much for your time today. Can I grab any questions from anyone? No questions, huh? Oh, sorry, right here. So the question is about the USDC and DAI, which is our peg stability module. And let's just say that there's a very concerted focus internally to be able to do that. It's really interesting if you take a look at I saw a chart the other day, and we're looking at the collateral-backed ETH or collateral-backed DAI versus the stablecoin DAI, is that we've exceeded now. So we are heading in the right direction, but we still have that legacy that we need to move down to a much lower level. So we're absolutely very aware of that. Yeah. Thanks for the question. Question in the back.
So how do you handle incentives on teams when you're trying to build teams like this and you don't have like a traditional, like, here's a bunch of stock options and salary and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in the process of transitioning the foundation into the DAO, there was quite a considerable transfer of MKR that went from the foundation into the DAO's treasury. I mention that only because incentives can be formed in a variety of different ways. The most direct one, obviously, is compensation and the incentive in the way of, like, for example, you vest a certain amount of MKR over a period of time. And as the foundation was formed, that's exactly what happened with everyone inside of the foundation. But not so true, right, as you get into the DAO. And as I put my core unit together, each facilitator has the ability to decide what their incentive models are going to be and how they're structured. Some of which decided to say, hey, we're going to use MKR as an incentive for the contributors that are inside the core unit. And a lot of the technical core units have done that, including myself. Some of the other core units, not so much. It just wasn't something that they wanted to pursue for a variety of reasons, and each one of those have a different opinion on why to do that. And I have to say too is that moving into a DAO and working for a DAO isn't like working for a nonprofit open source project. I can say that I'm paying the market rate for people that are in my core unit, and I do budget in for that. And through the stability fees and other mechanisms inside of MakerDAO, we have the ability to fund. I mean, we were doing this inside of the foundation, so essentially it has to be done out in the DAO as well. So there's my levers that I pull are a compensation based upon a market rate salary, using MKR as an incentive, and then also looking at geographical representation. So for example, I'm trying to hire someone in Berlin, and as a freelancer or quote unquote contractor, that individual has a 19% VAT on top of his salary. So it makes things very interesting. Plus, how do you pay people across the world in this decentralized organization that we decided to work within? So it brings a lot of other challenges up with it, but they're solvable. But again, we're very much in an experimentation phase as it relates to this. Did I answer your question? Yeah. Great. There's someone over here.
What advice would you have for the new batch of DAOs coming online? I see a lot of, move fast, break things, just have a token and see, learn, experiment and learn. What would be your advice?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it really does go back to my challenges, because I mean, every day there's a new challenge that we face, and something is happening. It truly is about our governance process, right? And having something that works for the community, and going into it knowing that we all can make our own decisions. So my core unit is autonomous. As long as I'm delivering upon my mandate, I don't have to do anything else that the community is doing. But I also have a choice, right? So I'm not forced into saying, hey, I have to buy into that vision, but I have a choice that I can do that. And it's let's face it, let's go down to the basic skills of communication and collaboration. That's really what it's about. You're working together with other human beings, and you're working together. And when you do that, it's all about the communication. And it's all about over communicating as well, and agreeing, and then also agreeing to disagree as well. But our governance process, including voting, is one of those key aspects in any DAO that you might be involved with. And then I also said the strategic vision is so critically important, because it's great that we want our token price to go up. The reality is it will not go up unless we have a concerted effort around some central theme or core that's going to propel us forward. So those would be the two that I would still highly go back to. Thanks. Over on the wall. Yeah, my experience with the observations of working inside of a DAO and the ahas, I would have put money on it. It wouldn't have worked when I first started at MakerDAO, and it was amazing. And then sure, I'll take on this role of dissolving the foundation, and even then I'm like, there's no way this is going to work. I mean, there's just no way. I mean, how do you take I mean, we all understand smart contracts and the infrastructure and the EVM and everything that goes along with that, and the Oracle and the pricing structures and the events that happen that crater crypto all the time. It's like, how could a loosely banded group of people do this? And it surprised the hell out of me. We actually did it. And in fact, not only did we do it, we dissolved the foundation. My last day at the foundation was September 3rd. And so I was the number 8, the 8th employee remaining. And everyone else was basically to clean up some of the legal matters and documentation, but there was no way in hell I thought it would work. And then to see the people step in to their roles, because in the foundation, what was happening is that I was leading these brainstorming sessions and getting people together, because as the foundation, we couldn't force anything into the community. We couldn't even influence the community. We just basically said, okay, everyone, let's self-organize. And we put together meetings and teams and facilitation sessions to help others self-organize. And they did it. They actually did it. It blew me away. So when I said magic happened, magic really happened, because it was the individuals that saw the opportunity that really believed in the project, and they said, we're going to do this. That was the biggest aha for me. And now I'm in the community, right? I didn't think I was going to be running a core unit and be a facilitator, and here I am. So thanks for the question. You good? Thank you, everyone.